Hey, and happy Friday night. I'm Tanya. Welcome to the channel. This is my needlework and bookish life. I've got my book journal here. I'm in my cozies. It is cold. We have snow. We've had 2 snow days, yesterday and today. I think we got 5 inches of snow. So yeah. Okay, I have read a couple books since I last saw you. Finished Hello Beautiful. I can't remember if I wrap that up with you or not last week, but I finished it and I gave it 3 stars. Yeah, 3 stars. It was okay. I said it was a inspiration from Little Women. It's not a retelling. So then I went on to listen to The Waters by Bonnie Jo Campbell. This I stumbled on because it just came out, but it was on the Libby app through my library, and the narrator was fantastic, but the story was, I have no idea. I don't even know what to tell you what happened in that book. I gave it 1 star. So this one was a cross between Where the Crawdads Sing, I loved that book, and Once Upon a River, did not like that book. So in my review on GOODREADS, I put lush writing, but a bit too la-la for me. A healer keeps the menfolk off her island in Michigan. She kicks out the husband or father. I can't remember if they were married. She has 3 children. They're grown adults now. And the youngest, Rose Thorne, I don't even know. Rose Thorne, that's her name. She comes back, and there's honestly, there is a passage early on when these guys are sitting like at the edge of the island, and they're just kind of shooting the breeze, and the writing makes them sound like bumbling idiots, okay? And so this figure is walking in the distance, and they're like, what do you think it is? Oh, I don't know. Is it a dog? Is it an animal? I mean, it must have been the longest road ever, because that was the longest scene in the book, because they were just like looking at it and trying to figure out what it was. And I already knew it was a girl way back, when they first mentioned it, because it just, I don't know. Then they're like, is it blonde? Do you think it's blonde? Is it carrying something? Anywho, it is the girl, Rose Thorne, and she's come back to town after being away a year. She had a baby, and I'm telling you, it was a mess. I mean, it was beautiful writing, again, lush writing, but there was abortion, there was alcoholism, there was rape, there were a lot of heavy issues peppering the story, and it just never felt like a cohesive storyline. And I kept listening and listening to it while I worked this week, and the narrator again was excellent, but nothing really happened, and it was just kind of more not letting the guys on the island, and it was depicted as rural noir. Is that a new subgenre type of book in fiction? So yeah, that was really weird. 1 star for me. And then I read The Rachel Incident by Caroline O'Donoghue. This one I also gave 1 star. This is from an Irish author. It is set in Cork, Ireland, and it had a lot going for it. So it's a coming of age in university years, and then it goes back and forth. So it's a dual timeline, but it was kind of choppy. It didn't seem as pieced together very well. Rachel's character, she was really good, and I thought she had a lot of potential, but I don't know, it just seemed like I wasn't interested in these people's lives enough to be invested in this story. So I think that someone who's maybe at least 30 years younger than me would enjoy this book. This is about, again, Rachel, and she is in university years, and she has a crush on a professor. He's kind of stereotyped in his character. He's married to a younger woman who was a student, master's student, but still a student. And Rachel's friend James. They live together, and then they have a very strong friendship, but then he does something to jeopardize the friendship, and I couldn't get past that because they seem like such really, really close friends, and it was kind of treated rather lightly after that, I thought. And I don't know, again, there's a definite audience for this type of book, and I am not it. My review on Goodreads is quite long, but yeah, there wasn't anybody who I thought had a redeeming quality to me in this book. So it wasn't for me. 1 star. Then I went on to read The Daughters of Foxcote Manor by Eve Chase. This was a 5-star read for me. I had picked this up for $2 at my library a month or so ago in the used book room, and I'm so glad I did. So this is not her newest, but second to newest book. I actually have the newest one, The Birdcage, out from the library. This is the American title, an American edition cover. The UK title is The Glass House. So in my opinion, this title fits the story rather well. This is also a dual timeline story, and it goes back and forth effortlessly. It's brilliantly written, and it opens out in 1971. We are introduced to Rita. She's a nanny, and she is driving the mother and 2 children in her charge to this manor house in the forest. They're going to stay there for the summertime while the London house that they live in is repaired. There was a mysterious fire. So the story goes back and forth in that time period, and then present tense with new characters, and then both stories are interwoven, and it's really wonderfully done. And there is a lot of content in this story to make it all happen and work, but it really does work, and I really loved it. So highly recommend Eve Chase's books. So I was recommended to read Florida by Lauren Groff by Doris over at Aldi Books. And I was happy that my library had it on the shelf, and I think I'm on story 4 now. I am not a fan of this author's book, The Fates and the Furies, I think is the title. I actually detested that book. That's actually one of the books that don't get me going. I didn't like it. And I listened to that one on audio. Maybe if I read it, I would like it more. I don't know. But it was just horrendous. It was a train wreck. So when Doris had suggested this, I'm thinking, oh no, not this author. But yeah, so far it's interesting. The first story was really good. It was about this woman who, she has a new baby or young children, and she has to get out of the house. So at nighttime, she takes a walk. And she's walking around her neighborhood, and it's like the regulars that she sees in their houses with the curtains, open. And she imagines their life and, who's doing what and yada yada. And I thought that was really good. It was kind of familiar in a way, and it was interesting to get into that woman's head. The second story, I'm really not sure. That was kind of odd. The third story was almost reminiscent of like Hansel and Gretel. It was about these 2 daughters, and they are in the woods or something, and the mother leaves, and they have to fend for themselves and find food and survive, and it was bizarre, but it was good. And the writing, it goes fast, and I'm really into short stories now, so definitely one that I'm gonna keep going with. So I'm reading that. And then I downloaded Anita Brookner's Hotel du Lac. This is her 3rd or 4th book, I believe. And this one won the Booker Prize. So I actually read this book when I was a senior in high school. I don't remember it other than really liking it. And I went on to read 2 other of her books, or, anything about them, other than I really liked her writing. And so for years, I've wanted to revisit her books, and finally I am. So this will be the year that I read Brookner's books, and it is new again to me. So I wouldn't call it a reread, even though technically it is. But this is about Edith Hope. I love that name, Hope. and she's a romance writer, and she goes to a hotel in Switzerland kind of to regroup and just kind of relax a bit. You can tell she almost doesn't want to go, but she's urged by friends to get away and kind of come back when you're a little better, so to speak. So she goes, and she is observing the people in the hotel. It's kind of half full occupancy hotel, and yeah, we'll see what happens, but so far so good. So again, I remember really enjoying it, and I've always been intrigued by Brookner's writing, and her as a person and a writer. In her later life, took care of her parents as they aged, and I don't think she started writing until she was in her 50s. So she was well accomplished in her career, and then she started writing. So that is what I read, and that is what I'm reading. Anywho, I'll see you soon. Tell me what you're reading down below, and take care.